Welcome to Ning and Jessica's Ask Me Anything, or rather Ask Oil Spill Response Limited Anything on their innovation opportunity for SmartPort Challenge 2020, which is automatic quantification of oil slicks from videos and images. And for more information on the challenge as well as the innovation opportunity, please head over to www.peers91.sg. So we have your questions here, and more importantly, answers to your questions. So let's get the ball rolling, Jessica.
Okay, thanks, Ning. So the first question that we have here, what is the market value of oil spill response?
As an industry, well, it is really hard to fully quantify, but there are three parts to this market, of which the later two have a bearing for aerial surveillance. So the first one is prevention of oil spills. Second one is preparedness for oil spills, including provisioning resources and establishing contracts. And the third one is responding to oil spills, which are unplanned events. So governments impose strict regulation on the energy industry to understand and prepare for the oil spill risk. This typically requires energy companies operating in a specific area to use a combination of in-house and contracted resources to be able to respond. For aerial surveillance, typically, the first tier of response is handled by helicopters or small aircraft already contracted to support normal operations. They are simply repurposed during an incident. For the second tier of response, if the initial resources are insufficient, then additional aircraft would be spot chartered. And for shipping companies for whom a spill can happen far from existing infrastructure, surveillance is carried out by aircrafts that are chartered during the incident or provided by government agencies such as Coast Guards. And the takeaway here is that much of the spend on oil spill prevention, preparedness, and response form part of internal operating costs for companies within the energy sector, so is undisclosed. And financial research companies provide estimates of the overall market size, which are available from internet searches or by paying for certain services.
Okay.
Now, next question, sorry. How frequent is the survey done per week or per month? Or, essentially, how frequent is oil spill?
Right. Okay. So for that, the surveys are done when there is an oil spill. So during a certain oil spill response, these surveillance flights typically happen once or twice a day, depending on the duration of the entire response that's needed. And oil spills are thankfully decreasing in recent times, but by their nature, they are unplanned. So frequency can't be predicted or estimated. And OSRL has further details of the spills that you can find on their website. You can go to the OSRL page, you search report of activity, and that gives you a summary of some of the sense of the spills, the aircraft required, and the costs that have been involved. And the next question, Ming, is are there images and videos captured? Are they in RGB format? And are these SAR images or using any special multispectral sensors?
Well, currently the majority of images used in surveillance are taken by DSLR or equivalent cameras, where there are areas where significant industry is clustered. For example, the European UKCS and dedicated aircraft are available for surveillance missions. Such aircraft may carry visual, ultraviolet, and infrared data feeds as well. Now, the fourth question we have, how effective is the method you currently use, or rather OSRL currently uses?
Right, so the methods that are currently being used by OSRL and various oil spill response companies, they're fairly effective in assessing the presence of oil in a given location and providing estimates of the quantities so that resources can be prioritized to respond to the spill. But an optimal solution will be more accurate, which means reducing the range in estimates of oil quantity. So for example, the current range is big, so the upper range of an estimate can be 5 to 10 times more than the lower range estimate. So for example, if the lower range is 50 cubic meters, the upper range could be up to 500. But OSRL hopes to reduce the range to 1 to 2 times. So if the lower range is 50 cubic meters, the upper range would be 100. So that would make it more accurate. And also an optimal solution would not necessarily require trained responders to deploy the assets, because it can automatically quantify the amount of oil there is and what's needed. And it would ideally also provide data more quickly to command centers. So current methods need to wait for the surveillance aircraft to land and a verbal summary text report to be sent to the control center, and then for the surveillance images to be downloaded, geographic metadata added, and all of this transmitted to the command center. Trained responders can do this fairly efficiently, but sometimes it's dependent on data connectivity, and this time lag can reduce the efficiency of the response overall. And lastly, what would be optimal would also that this would make the overall response safer, because it could reduce the number of flights required with people on board. So instead of having to send the same flight again and again to take different images, they should be able to get a more accurate assessment once off. Yep. And the next question then is, what is the height from which data is being collected from the UAVs or the unmanned aerial vehicles?
Well, there are actually no fixed rules, and flight levels are determined by what is most appropriate based on the visibility conditions and size of the spill. Now, low-level flight is usually possible, assuming it is within regulations and so long as airspace is deconflicted and hazards avoided. Now, we can refer to the previously shared industry guidance on this. So there are industry guidance out there.
Next question.
Oh, sorry, I forgot to give you the question now. How much data, image, video-wise, does OSRL have?
Yep, so OSRL holds data in various forms from the previous spills, but the caveat is that this format is not standardized. So the resolution or the angle of the photograph may not necessarily be the same. Sample data where oil is observed from recent spills may be able to be shared, but this is subject to agreement from the party that's responsible for the spill. So this is not guaranteed. And we have another question that's somewhat similar to this. Who will provide the data, the image, and the video to work on?
OSRL can provide sample data which they use for internal training materials, and incident data from spills is owned by the organization responsible for spilling the oil, and so release of that information is subject to agreement with them. Now, dependent on the likely success of the proposed technology solution, OSRL may be able to facilitate requests for release of such data. And any agreements for release of materials would be between the owners of the data and the entity conducting the research. Now, in this case, including the detailed correspondence and cost of establishing agreements. As part of the project, OSRL would expect the researching entity to contact and source data in addition to facilitation requests via OSRL. And the next question we have is, will the data be marked or annotated?
Mostly not.
Well, that's a short one. It's not fair. So I'm going to give you another one. The ninth question we have, will there be data on the volume of oil for the images or videos captured?
Okay, yeah. So where OSRL is able to release the training images, they will do that, and the estimates can be made from those images. Also, for more information, there are, as Ning mentioned, there's resources available. So IPIECA is one source, and they have details on the oil spill observation criteria. For example, there's an industry standard called the Bond Agreement Oil Appearance Code, and there's more information that you can find on the current process, tools used, and the approach but limitations of these existing solutions. Okay, so I hope that's long enough for you, Ning. Now, next question back to you. Is this innovation opportunity considering only oil spill on the water surface?
Sorry, I muted myself. So, well, as opposed to being submerged oil, I guess that's what you were asking. The primary opportunity is focused on oil on the surface of water, as this can be responded to using conventional techniques. If the technology is able to accurately quantify submerged oil, for example, on the shoreline where it has mixed with sand, and form tar mats in the near-shore environment, then this would also be very beneficial. And the last question is, where will the system be deployed and who will be using it? for those that use it, how will they access it?
Yes, so for this question, there may be a market for cost-effective solutions to be sold or leased to oil and gas operators in specific locations. So a number of oil spill equipment manufacturers exist who already have access to this market. So licensing may be possible through them. Suitable solutions could potentially be of interest to OSRL to hold it within their response stockpile. So the nature of the solution will affect who will be using it, and the system should ideally be deployed could be deployed anywhere globally. So I think you're on mute.
Oh, I'm sorry. So I guess that's it. We have 11 questions and we've answered all of them. So thank you very much all for your questions, and thank you to Dave Rouse from OSRL who gave us the answers. I hope you didn't think we wrote the answers ourselves. So that's it. Well, if you want to catch any of our roadshows for the SmartPort Challenge 2020, where we ask questions, we discuss the innovation opportunities with the corporate members themselves, please remember to sign up for the event. You can find out more information on the events at www.peers91.sg.
See you at our
thank
next
you.
roadshow.
Yeah. See you. Bye-bye.
Bye.